Hello and welcome to another SH Figuarts review. Today we're taking a look at the classic Han Solo figure that we've seen in New Hope and the Chewbacca figure from the Solo movie. You know, it's pretty awesome that even Bandai knew that they weren't going to make hardly any money from the Solo movie. How can I tell for that? Because they only released 2 Figuarts for the Solo movie. That weird grayscale stone-colored Stormtrooper and this new version of Chewbacca, because Chewbacca is quite easy to sell. They didn't bother with the new version or the young version of Han Solo and instead just re-release the classic Han Solo figure because that's a figure that people want, and I'm pretty sure not many people want the young Han Solo as an expensive figure. And in terms of the model kits, I think they released a vehicle, one of the kits, but that's about it. There were no other Solo movie merchandise from Bandai. Currently they're continuing their efforts with the classic movie figuarts such as Princess Leia with a really long dress and the recently released old Ben Kenobi. Moving on, taking a quick look at these figures, they're pretty awesome. If you look at Chewbacca first, he of course is very similar to his classic look, although here we also have a goggles head. The strap is slightly different, and unfortunately we do not have his classic bowcaster gun from the classic movies. What we do have here is a new rifle from the Solo movie. Now obviously I would have preferred the bowcaster, but that first release of the Figuarts Chewbacca is really expensive right now and way out my price range, so this one will do fine. Chewbacca here, apart from his fist, he also has spray open hands and his gun holding hand. He has 3 different facial expressions. One neutral expression with the goggles, one without the goggles, and a calling, crying out look with his mouth open. Swapping the face is very easy, just pretty much pull on his face, it will come off quite easily, and you stick the other face onto the head. The seam line is a little bit noticeable when you take a closer look, but it's not too bad. Swapping his hands is also quite easy, as the peg holding the hand is very similar to a Lego peg. Just a little bump on it, nothing too big. What I will say is that his extra fur on the arm does get in the way a little bit, but it's not too bad at all. The rifle that he has is painted quite well. Love the metallic shine. The Bandai silver is always nice. The sculpt is printed quite well. However, what looks like a pump action shotgun sort of gun, the pump itself does not move at all. This is a solid, everything's glued down, everything's just stuck as it is. The details on Chewbacca's fur is quite nice. Where they decide to put the joints in is not too bad, to be honest. I like his knee joint where they actually fur sculpt on the joint itself. I like how some of his fur actually hides some of the joints. For example, in most poses it's going to be hard to see his hand joints. The extra piece of plastic that they put between his hip and his legs are also quite nice at covering the joint when he's doing more extreme poses. However, I don't like his middle arm joint where it's just a single brown color. That makes it quite obvious and stand out quite a bit. I like the fact that the straps on his body and the pouch are a separate piece of plastic and not attached to his body, meaning that they can be moved out the way when you're moving the figure. That's great. And I like how smooth all of his joints are able to move. Paint job wise, I think they've done a pretty good job in simulating the fur details. I mean, at this scale, you have real fur, it's just going to get really messy and start to break down quite easily. So as a toy with hard plastic, I think they've done a pretty good job in replicating the fur details here. And of course, Chewbacca himself is pretty much a head taller than Han Solo and many other Figuarts. Looking over at Han Solo, the accessories, he has the fist, relaxed hands, and relaxed hands with gloves in case you want to pose him as piloting the Millennium Falcon. He also has his pistol in his gun strap, and you can replace that with an empty strap while he's holding the gun as an accessory. The gun detail itself is pretty nice and pretty accurate to what I remember in the movie. The molding details are great and the paint job on the handle is quite nice as well. Swapping that pouch from his leg is also very easy and it's very secure. I also like how the straps to the pouch is not actually glued down or stuck to his leg. It's actually a pretty soft plastic and loose strap and doesn't really get in the way of articulation when you're moving his right leg, so that's pretty awesome. The belt itself and the rest of the strap is molded down to the hip piece, but that's fine, it's meant to be quite secure there anyway. I also like that his jacket is not actually permanently glued down to his body, so moving his arms back, you can remove the jacket if you want to. He does look a little bit weird with the jacket off because of the shoulder joints, but otherwise it's still an interesting feature and an extra play gimmick if you do want to do that. And I mean, it doesn't look terrible without the jacket, he just looks slightly off. It's also nice that they decided to print his tramp stamp on the inside of his jacket, so for the most part you're not going to see it under any poses. also like how his jacket hides his shoulder joint quite well as well, and also covers up most of his stomach joint. You can still see that line on the front, but it's not too bad. The joint's also well hidden on his hip as well. I like the knee joints, the leg joints, and once again it's the arm joints that I'm not too happy with, as the color's a little bit too white compared to the rest of the color of his shirt. His lower neck joint is also quite noticeable, as there's a color difference between his neck and the top of his chest. The print job on his face is absolutely excellent. One look at this and you will know it's Harrison Ford. It looks really good. The paint detailing on the rest of the figure is excellent. The effort on Star Wars Figuarts has always been really high class, and there's no exception here. What I don't like is the color of his hair, although it's a bit better than figures such as Luke Skywalker, where they really paint his entire hair area with gold paint. With Han Solo here, there's a little bit of gold on his hair, but because he's dark haired, it's not too much gold, but I still would have preferred it if his hair color was a bit darker than what it is right now. Just too many golden lines in the hair. I don't know why they do that. Does it look natural? Not really. From distance it looks alright, but the gold is just far too shiny for his hair to look natural. Articulation wise, he has a double neck joint there, moves quite well. Full rotation on his neck. Shoulders on a double peg that's hidden quite well with the jacket, and the jacket doesn't hinder it too much. Arm can go up, full rotation, and he has just some rotation here to move his arms. Double elbow joint is quite good. Elbow joint also rotates. Hands on a swivel and peg. Lots of movement space. Double torso joint, so of course, upper and bottom. You can't full rotation there, but the upper torso can sort of just do mostly just natural poses. They can come down just a little bit. This hip piece is made out of softish material to get out of the way when you're moving the legs, and you see for the most part, unless you're doing extreme poses, the joint is hidden quite well. It doesn't really cut out. Single knee joint, unfortunately. It's also not too badly cut up. Toe joint. Go down, tippy toes. So it's funny when I see tippy toes. They can go sideways, up and down a bit. And the bottom of the shoes are just regular boots. Chewbacca here has a double neck joint, but it's hard to notice and see because of the shape of his head and all this hair coming down, but it does help. You can look quite far back, but of course not too far forward because that gets in the way. The head's also quite easily removable, and after that you can remove this whole pouch and strap thing, and you know, if you do that, he'll look not like Chewbacca and just look like any other Wookiee. So you can do that if you want. If you want a Wookiee army build, you can get a few more of these. A pretty expensive army build, but you can do that and have an army of Wookiees. That'd be fun. Wookiees versus Stormtroopers, they're so doomed. Big rotation here. This hairpiece here is just attached to the upper joint of the neck and just follows around and just sort of gets out the way. It's just loose, just sits there. I like how Chewie can do the "oh no you didn't" face. Shoulder got the double pegs and this extra piece of fur here to cover up the joint just a little bit. As you can see here, the joint's still quite noticeable when you move his arms outwards. Arm goes quite far up, full rotation of course, and just slight rotation here. Actually quite a lot of rotation. As long as the top area doesn't get in the way, you can rotate it. There's also upper arm joint here for more rotation if you want to do that, although this joint is quite stiff. The single elbow joint here, again, joint is hidden quite well, and because the hand itself is on a peg and swivel joint. The lower arm also has a slight rotation here to help you hold the gun in a proper position. Only a single stomach joint for the body, full rotation, move back, so yeah, quite limited. Leg goes up, leg goes back, leg goes sideways. Extra piece there to hide the joint when needed. See, look, that's hidden the joint so well. If this wasn't here, you'd see a huge hole in this upper leg. So I think that's done quite good. Double knee joint with fur detail. Foot goes up, down, sideways, sideways. Toe goes up, and toe can go down. And the bottom of the feet is just grey plastic. Overall, I think this is the best Han Solo figure you can get at the 1/12 scale. Facial printing is excellent, the jacket is pretty good, and the accessory count is okay enough. I would have preferred if he had perhaps one more item holding hand or something like that, or I also would have liked for him to have a second facial expression. The Chewbacca figure is not the best one. I really would have preferred the classic one, but like I said, that one is so expensive these days that this one is a good alternative. So if you can't afford that one and you want the best possible Chewbacca figure at this size, not to bother about the bowcaster, you can get this version, since it's mostly the same mold, it's just got slightly different accessories. I think that the Black Series Chewbacca is okay, and not bad at all, and if you already have that and you really like Wookiees, you can still get this one, and then the Black Series one would become like a secondary Wookiee if you want to do that. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this review of Han Solo and Chewbacca. Let me know what you think below, and if you have the Bespin version of Han Solo or the Empire Strikes Back version of Han Solo Black Series, that one does seem quite good as well, for at least for its price point. Hasbro's moved on to face printing, and the sculpting looks pretty decent as well, so I'm quite interested to see what people think about that one. But obviously, the Bandai did choose the most classic version of Han Solo, so you can't beat that. Also, I'm interested in how you guys feel about comparing this to the Black Series. Do you have the Black Series Chewbacca? How's that compared to this? As always, you can support this channel by turning ad block off or heading over to Patreon and supporting it there. Please leave a comment below, subscribe and like if you haven't done so already, and share this video with other people as well. Take care, have a nice day, and may the Force be with you.